Good morning. This is Rick Gleason and Don King from the Heartbeat of Worker Health and Safety. And we just wanted to give a little introduction today about the history of women in the trades. Over the years, there's been more women in the trades, and certainly we're also seeing that in the field of safety and health. But Don, you have a couple guests we're going to be interviewing in the next month or so, aren't you?
Yes, as a matter of fact, and both of these ladies have been in the trades for over 20 years, and it is actually right now it is not uncommon to get a crew of 6 people and have a woman in there, or sometimes two. So it's really getting really moving well in that area.
Boy, that is great. And it looks like we're doing some nationwide statistics. Probably 9% of the construction industry is currently women. And ironically, in the mining industry, it's more than that, maybe 13%. And in manufacturing, it's over 1/4, over 25%. And so we're certainly seeing that increase and improve as time goes on.
Well, and I think what's good about right now the way we function out on the job is it's as soon as you go into the job site, the first thing we start talking about is, by the way, do we have facilities set up for the ladies? And if we don't, let's get them, because we're going to set them up and they'll have their locked facility, and we take care of what they need to have, which is just common and how we do business. So that kind of speaks for how prevalent they are getting to be in the workplace.
Boy, that's excellent. And we certainly saw that in World War II, where we needed all that help in the manufacturing industry, and Rosie the Riveter stepped up and was able to perform admirably in those tasks.
There are actually women right now that are foremen. There's a job out I have over here on North Gate side, a woman superintendent. So they are not only just in the workforce, but they're also leading the charge, which is really exciting.
Boy, that is great. And one thing I've seen here at the University of Washington, we have a master's degree in exposure science and industrial hygiene, and we've graduated about 8 students a year for the last 40 years. But for the last 20 years, 60% of the graduates have been women in industrial hygiene and exposure science. So it's really been a great improvement. And I just wanted to invite everyone again to May 6th on Friday is the Women in the Trades Career Fair. And it'll be from 9 to 2 at the Seattle Center at Fisher Pavilion. So stop by and say hello. We'll be there as the Pacific Northwest OSHA Education Center booth. So we just want to thank everyone for listening today.
Yeah, and please, again, if you know some young ladies who are trying to figure out what they want to do with their career, working in the industry of manufacturing, construction, everything is wide open, and we welcome them.
Today we have a special guest. Her name is Hannah Curtis. She's a research coordinator who's been coordinating a SHIP grant, that's Safety and Health Investment Policy Investment Projects grant. Great. And Hannah, tell us a little bit about the project you're doing with women in the trades.
Great. So we're working on a collaboration with a community group called Washington Women in Trades, and then the State Labor Education Research Center. And the goal of the project is really to better understand what type of health and safety hazards women in construction in Washington State face on the job. And then the goal is to, once we've identified those hazards, come up with some programs to reduce them. Because really the percentage of women in construction is extremely low. It's been 3% pretty much since the 1970s, which is shocking when you think about the strides women have made in many other male-dominated industries. And construction offers many great benefits for women, and so we're interested in sort of better understanding why women are, their numbers are so much lower in the industry, and figuring out ways to kind of increase that by making it a safer, healthier place for them to work.
Wow, this is great. How long has this project been going on?
So our grant is, it's an 18-month grant, and it started just before I came on, so I believe it was last December, 2014. and we're going to be wrapping up over the summer, and we're actually applying for a follow-up SHIP grant at the end of this April, which is when we will take the information that we learned from our current study, which has been pretty much a formative project where we've done focus groups and surveys kind of to understand the hazards, and we're going to apply those to the next grant, which is where we hope to actually develop a program to try to reduce the hazards on the job.
Excellent. How many people do you think you'll end up interviewing over a period of time?
So we're just at a little over 200 at the moment. We're keeping the survey open, trying to get, our original goal is 400, so 300 tradeswomen and 100 tradesmen from around the state, from all different trade backgrounds, different levels, apprentices, journey level workers. So that's where we are right now. We also held some focus groups last spring, which helped inform the development of our survey, and we're going to be doing follow-up focus groups again. So our goal is to have around 400 people involved.
Wow, excellent. Now, let's say you were interviewing me now, and what would be some type of questions that you might ask about the trades, safety and health in the trades, and what would be typical information you'd be getting from your interviewees?
Well, I guess we want to know kind of what the workplace is like for them in terms of health and safety. We're really interested both in the traditional occupational health hazards, exposures to chemicals, dust, ill-fitting PPE, injury, but also kind of the more psychosocial side of things that people maybe don't think about as much. So experiences that they've had with stress, discrimination, harassment, needing to overcompensate on the job. So really just trying to figure out what the experience of the average worker is like, so that we can better understand their needs.
Excellent, excellent. And so hopefully, what's your time frame when this would be at least phase one, and then would it be a report back to Labor and Industries, to the SHIP committee?
Yeah, so we have a final report that's due. We're pushing it back a little bit just because we're slightly behind schedule, but that will be due in the beginning of the fall to Labor and Industries. But because this is really a community-led and driven project, we're really interested in also making sure that our research is going back into the community that's been helping us so much in terms of finding participants for our study and also telling us about their experiences. So we're going to make sure that we come up with some type of more layman's type report or fact sheet about what we discover from this survey that we can give back to them. And we've really been working with a wide variety of partners. So we've been contacting apprenticeship programs, different unions, trade associations that work with both union and non-union workers, and then also a lot of contractors. So we're really trying to hit all the bases and reach out to as many workers as possible, and we want to make sure that they see that their involvement is being appreciated.
Got it. And what's the geographical area that you're covering?
So it's all of Washington State. Obviously, some areas are a little easier to reach out to than others. We've had a lot of participants from sort of the Seattle, western, northwest area of the state. We have some good contacts over in Spokane, the Tri-Cities area, Vancouver, and then we've just been trying our hardest to reach women and men from all different parts of the state. So it really is, the experiences differ based on the individual worker, the trade that they're in, their level, their skill, and obviously geographically. So we want to make sure we're accounting for all of that in our research.
Great. Hannah, if people had any questions, where could they go, either phone or internet? Where is some contact information?
Yeah, so we have a website set up. The study actually has a name. It's called Safety and Health Empowerment for Women in Trades, SHEWT, SHEWT study. And so we have a website or a page on the department website. So it's http://deohs.washington.edu/SHEWT, SHEWT. And you can go there to find out more about kind of how we created this project, what our goals are, who our partners are, what we're hoping to do. And then the link to the survey is also on there. So you can go if you're an eligible worker, so currently doing work in Washington State in any of the trades, you can go and take the survey there.
Excellent, excellent. Hey, if you had to give just one goal as we kind of wrap up today, what would be something you'd like to see come out of your research?
Well, I'm really invested in making sure that the research ties back to the community and that what we're doing has a real impact on workers. And I mean, even just the focus groups that we've done, a lot of the women we've talked to are so thankful that, people care about them because they are really a minority in the industry and they haven't received a lot of attention. Most people don't think of women when they think of the average construction worker. So kind of raising awareness about their status and then also their needs. And then really I'm very excited about the next stage of the project, this next SHIP grant that we're going to be applying for. I'm very excited by the prospect that we can put the research that we're doing into practice and come up with programs that will make it easier for women both to get into the industry, to stay in the industry, and to succeed, because a lot of them, they're dropping out just because it can be a very toxic workplace, and we would really like to change that for the better.
Anna, thank you for being with us today. And Anna is the research coordinator for the Women in the Trades project. We have a special guest this morning, and her name is Nancy Simcox, and she's the director of our continuing education department. And Dawn, why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're going to have Nancy talk to us today about?
Well, Nancy is going to talk to us about a really exciting program called SHEWT. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and she'll correct me if I didn't, but it's about the safety and health empowerment for women in the trades. So I think it's exciting, I think it's long overdue, and let's have Nancy take us a little bit further.
Yeah, thank you. So part of our outreach activities that we do through the Northwest Center for Occupational Health and Safety, that's our education and research center that's funded by NIOSH. We go out and talk with different groups and associations to share our professional development courses and our training courses that we have available that we offer through the OSHA Education Center and through our ERC. And one of the meetings I went to was to attend the Washington Women in Trades meetings. And one evening, and I talked with them and shared our programs with them, and then they started talking to me and sharing some of their issues and health and safety problems. I came back to the faculty here at the University of Washington because what came up out of that meeting, they asked if we could do a survey. Would you do a survey that could help identify what some of the issues and barriers are for women staying safe on the job? And I did. I came back to the University of Washington and I talked to our faculty at the Environmental and Occupational Health Sciences Department, and Dr. Satius was willing to talk with the women more, and we developed a committee. And from there, we designed a study that was very participatory with them, and they helped us address some of the concerns and what kinds of questions we wanted to ask in the survey.
What would be some of the questions you might be asking them?
Well, we're asking everything from, what kind of hazards are you facing on the job to what kind of protections work for you on the job. Some of the things that women would explain to me during our meetings were, we did focus groups with women, and they explained that, sometimes the personal protective equipment doesn't fit us. Where do we go to find those? And so where are the resources for some of these questions?
Excellent.
Oh, I think that's really good stuff because, in our industry, we don't think of those things. We're building buildings and pouring concrete, and those items, I think, are really critical, and I think it's really time that we address them properly and do a good job on that. So I think it's exciting, and I have some, I've already talked to several ladies who are 20-year veterans in the business that are happy to get involved with this and give their input.
That's awesome, because one of the other things was kind of how do women have the right mentorship, and as they're going through the trades that they can get to help with their work. It makes them move up into the system as well, because that's very important that you are able to do that, be able to get into the job, to do your job, and do it well. And if you have good mentors that can help you, that's key.
Yeah, I think that's true. And more and more companies are also looking at this weight factor that we've talked about and fought for years, and they're pretty much across the board, they're talking about anything over 50 pounds, you get help and do it. So this, I believe, is a good causeway into helping the ladies, because they'll feel like they have to go pick up something for 100 pounds. It's not required anymore.
Right,
So
and if this is a good I mean, changing the culture for women is also good for men. It isn't just for,
It's not just for the women.
right, it's not just for the women. That's right.
And one of the things I've enjoyed seeing here at the University of Washington Region 10 OSHA Training Center that we've been doing the last 20 years here in Seattle and Region 10 is to see more and more women in the trades going into safety and health. And we've seen a great influx of our construction train the trainers
Yeah.
that are now women in the trades. And so that looks to improve the status of everyone on the
That's right,
job
and that's
site
good
as well.
leadership roles for women, yep.
You bet. Hey, help us out. Is there a website folks, our listeners, could go to if they wanted more information?
Yes, they can go to deohs.washington.edu/SHEWT, and that's spelled SHEWT. And you can also just contact our coordinator at 206-543-2384.
Thank you again. Rick Gleason and Don King coming from the heartbeat of worker health and safety.
And to you all, aloha.
Shake hands with danger. Meet a guy you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety. Now they call me Three-Finger Joe. I was young and feisty, never did things by the book. Just let me get my toolbox and I'll take myself a look. I climbed up on the dozer and with my mechanic's pride said, you can keep it running, friend, while I poke around inside. Shake hands with danger, meet a guy you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety, now they call me Three-Finger Joe. Though I learned a lesson, I forgot it soon enough. The nicks and burns and scratches showed the young ones I was tough. Till another morning, I was grinding on some steel. My other hand